Her sharp words sliced through my core when she proclaimed I fell short of her vision of true manhood. The venom in her voice, cold and dismissive, burrowed into my soul with piercing precision. Her tone, frigid, as though casting aside something insignificant, still reverberates in my thoughts. That instant etched itself into my being, and I understood our bond had shifted beyond repair. For years, I poured my entire existence into her happiness. I labored through grueling workdays, pinched pennies, and dreamed of a life where she'd never know worry. I wasn't rich or ostentatious, but I was steadfast, loyal, and wholly committed. I believed those traits held real value. Yet, gradually, I noticed her quiet comparisons to other men. A co-worker with a sleek new car, a friend jetting off to far-flung locales, a neighbor radiating boldness. I brushed it off, telling myself she was just venting, though the ache lingered beneath my surface. The evening everything shattered. She'd been out with friends, her laughter fueled by too many drinks. When I arrived to drive her home, her eyes were hazy, her voice overly loud. One of her companions tossed a casual barb, suggesting I couldn't keep up with their vibrancy. Then, in front of them all, she turned to me and delivered her devastating verdict. "You've never been man enough for me." Laughter erupted around us. I stood frozen, my ears ringing, my pride crumbling. I got her home, but silence cloaked me on the drive. The next morning, she offered no remorse, dismissing it as a drunken quip. "You're too fragile," she said, as if her words were weightless. But the wound cut deep. It wasn't just her statement, it was her gaze, as if she truly saw me as inferior. For the first time, I saw our relationship clearly. An uneven bargain where I gave everything, and she consumed it without ever being satisfied. That day, I made a silent vow. Without a word to her, I began to pull back. I stopped arranging special nights, ceased exhausting myself for her approval. Instead, I turned my energy inward. I started waking before dawn to lift weights, signed up for online classes to hone my expertise, and forged new connections to pursue long-buried goals. Gradually, my self-assurance grew. While she fixated on my flaws, I was molding myself into the person I always knew I could be. At first, she didn't notice, assuming it was a passing whim. But as weeks turned to months, the growing distance between us became undeniable. She began to question my absence, my refusal to cater to her every desire. I simply said I was busy, nothing more. I no longer craved her approval, and that rattled her profoundly. The final fracture came one night when I returned late from a work meeting. She confronted me, accusing me of abandoning her, of valuing my career over our connection. That's when I brought up that pivotal night, the one where she declared I wasn't man enough. I explained how her words had sparked something in me, not in the way she might have imagined. They ignited a truth. I deserved better than to spend my life proving myself to someone blind to my worth. That evening, I walked away for good, leaving her behind. It wasn't easy. Starting over brought moments of uncertainty, nights when solitude weighed heavily. But whenever I thought of turning back, her words resurfaced, not to hurt, but to strengthen my resolve. Months later, my life began to thrive. I earned a promotion, my earnings soared, and I settled into the apartment I'd always envisioned. I surrounded myself with people who inspired me, who championed my progress. I wasn't just surviving, I was flourishing, living for my own fulfillment, not someone else's judgment. Then, out of nowhere, she reached out. A message appeared. "I've been reflecting on you. I miss what we had. Can we meet?" I ignored it at first, but her persistence grew. One weekend, she appeared at my door, her face streaked with tears, admitting she'd undervalued me. She confessed she'd chased hollow ideals, only to find emptiness. She begged for a second chance, regretting her actions. As she stood there, exposed, I realized I felt no resentment, no urge to retaliate or prove myself. I felt nothing. The man she once diminished had grown into someone she could no longer reach. With calm clarity, I told her she'd been right about one thing. I hadn't been man enough then. Not because I lacked ambition or strength, but because I let her define my worth, giving more than I should have. Now I was a man who understood his value, and her opinion meant nothing. She pleaded, she wept, but I stood firm. I closed the door that day, severing the past entirely, And it was one of the most freeing moments of my life. Reflecting now, I see her words as an unexpected blessing. What could have broken me instead launched me toward the man I was meant to be. She's still out there, chasing fleeting fantasies and wrestling with remorse, while I've built a life she'll never touch. When asked if I'd ever reconsider, my answer is resolute. Never. She said I wasn't man enough, and now she begs for a chance I'll never give.